So, as a long time Colts fan, I have been wanting to make this video for a while now. Frank Reich is on the hot seat for 2022. And that's kind of good news. This guy, he's been an average head coach. He hasn't been great. He hasn't lived up to Tony Dungy and Jim Caldwell or our history, as well as neither has the quarterback we traded a first round pick for. He's been awful. He's been awful. So in Frank Reich's 4 years with us, he's 9 games over 500. That's not great. That's not great. He's had slow starts consistently. When I say consistently, 2 out of 4 years he's had incredibly slow starts. One of them, he was lucky enough to have Andrew Luck be able to bail him out, starting off 1-5, finishing 10-6, making the playoffs, and getting Frank Reich's only playoff win in his Indianapolis career. We haven't had a playoff win since 2018. Frank Reich should actually just be gone at this point. like growing up a Colts fan, we're used to 10-6. You make the playoffs, we get playoff wins, and then we went to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. That's been my life growing up as Colts. I haven't, as a Colts fan, we didn't miss the playoffs until Curtis Painter played for us, and then we didn't miss the playoffs again until Luck went 8-8 with Chuck Pagano and Ryan Greason. But that's a whole another can of worms. So then after that, they were like, okay, we'll give Jacoby Brissett his shot. Jacoby Brissett, which we all know is a career backup now, and it was always meant to be his role. He was never starter material. We won games in spite of the Jacoby, just like we win games in spite of Carson Wentz. So Jacoby Brissett, he actually started off pretty good. He started off 5-2 with Jacoby, and then dropped, and then dropped 7 games out of his next 9. How do you start off 5-2 and then you just get outcoached by the other team and continue the season with a 2-7 record? That's piss poor performance, and it's awful. Not only because you showed the capability to win with Jacoby Brissett, and the other teams eventually figured out just how to stop it, and you never adapt. He never really adapted. He never really changed the strategy. It was just, we're going to go 2-7 these last 9 games, and that's unacceptable. Then we bring in the majesty that's Philip Rivers. He has a career year in Indy in 2020, and we have another 5-2 start. Amazing, on top of the world. Philip Rivers is goated, and we go 11-5. We make the playoffs, and then we lose in the playoffs. We're 1-1 in 3 years so far. So Philip Rivers goes down the path of retirement and becoming a high school football coach. That's all fine and dandy. We make the most boneheaded move. Frank Reich demands that Carson Wentz comes to Indianapolis because of his Philadelphia connection with him, and swears up and down, hand on the Bible, he can bring Carson Wentz back to being an MVP candidate. And that didn't even come close to happen. Carson Wentz threw for 250 yards 4 times, 250 yards or more 4 times all season, and we only won one of those games where he threw for 250 plus yards. That's incredible how awful of a move that was, and it's incredible how people still try to defend that Carson Wentz is our franchise quarterback when it ain't even close, dude. This dude is bottom tier. This dude is an F tier quarterback. And Frank Reich had some real F tier coaching to go along with it this year. The play calling has been awful. It looked like Doug Peterson is out there doing play calls for the 2020 Eagles. It was absolutely crazy. So this year we went back to the Andrew Luck. We went back to that Andrew Luck 2018 type of slow start, where we started off 2-4, but instead of being carried by his Hall of Fame quarterback to the playoffs, going 10-6, we ended up being 9-8, getting humiliated by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you just can't do that. Like, I understand, like, there is a historically splitting with the Jaguars. I understand that, but you can't go and get absolutely humiliated like that. The defense didn't show up. Carson Wentz played fucking awful. Excuse me, but that word is very warranted in that. He played horrendous. Carson Wentz was awful. The Jaguars committed to just stopping Jonathan Taylor. And said Carson Wentz is going to beat us with his arm or y'all aren't going to win. And we all know Carson Wentz ain't beating nobody with his arm. Nobody. And so we haven't won a playoff game since 2018, and Frank Reich is just showing an inability to win without Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks at this point. So it's either we go all in on a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback and try to save Frank Reich's career, or I'm in favor, like this is probably Frank Reich's last year if we can't find anybody but Carson Wentz. And I'm okay with that because I know he's the one that banged on the table for Carson Wentz. He costed our first round pick this season, which could have been used on a real quarterback like Matt Corral or developing Malik Willis or my number 2 quarterback, Carson Strong, or even or picking up a first round receiver like Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, or George Pickens. It's incredible what this move has costed us in the long run in terms of new players and being competitive in the future because we rolled the dice on a guy that showed he's not the guy the past couple of years. Like Carson Wentz has no playoff wins in his career. He's only started I think 1 playoff game and was injured, and Nick Foles came back in and they almost went on another magic run with Nick Foles. Like he's not the guy. He's the guy that gets benched by the backups. Carson Wentz is Tyrod Taylor. I would rather have Tyrod Taylor at this point. And I know this video isn't about Carson Wentz. It's supposed to be about Frank Reich. And Frank Reich just continues to show an inability to win games without Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks. So unless we get I think I already said this, unless we get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, Frank Reich ain't going to get back to the playoffs next year. Frank Reich should be fired by the end of the 22 season, and we'll be looking for our next coach. Hopefully I would love to see Jim Caldwell come back. That would be amazing. Byron Leftwich. I think Brian Flores has found his own way out of the NFL with his lawsuit. It's unfortunate because Brian Flores was a really good coach, and I would love to see him in Indy. But Byron Leftwich, Eric Bieniemy, there's a lot of good options in these coaching classes coming out. And so I think Frank Reich's time is over. Hopefully Chris Ballard isn't fired with him in a package deal because Chris Ballard is still a very competent GM, just influenced by bad decisions from his head coach, vouching for bad players to come to our good team and cost us games. This is my take with Skylar Mike Krantz. Thank you for listening. I'm out.